every superhero has an arch nemesis, right? This is a thing that you constantly have to fight against in your world. And a business takes a lot of forms, but generally speaking, in the context of your clients, it's a mindset or a flaw that you are constantly have to fight against in order to help actually get them the result that they came to you for. So in the world of operations, what is the common enemy that you constantly have to work on or fight against when you're trying to help your clients get the results they want?
Well, I can tell you that it directly relates to what you were saying as far as people think that operations, they can take care of themselves. And so I'm constantly fighting against the fact that people don't think that they need it. They're concentrated on sales. They're concentrated on, marketing. They're concentrated on other things. Even as a small business owner, that becomes an issue. It's one of the hardest things to convince a small business owner that they need help because they started the business because they didn't want help in the first place. It's hard to go in and tell somebody there's flaws in your company.
Heroes are an inspiring group of people. Every one of them, from the larger-than-life comic book heroes you see on the big silver screen, to everyday heroes that let us live the privileged lives we do. Every hero has a story to tell. From the doctor saving lives at your local hospital, to the war veteran down the street who risked his life for our freedom, to the police officers and the firefighters who risk their safety to ensure ours. Every hero is special and every story worth telling. But there is one class of heroes that I think is often ignored: the entrepreneur, the creator, the producer. The ones who look at the problems in this world and think to themselves, you know what? I can fix that. I can help people. I can make a difference. Then they go out and do exactly that by creating a new product or introducing a new service. Some go on to change the world. Others make a world of difference to their customers. Welcome to the Hero Show. Join us as we pull back the masks on the world's finest heropreneurs and learn the secrets to their powers, their success, and their influence, so you can use those secrets to attract more sales, make more money, and experience more freedom in your business. I'm your host, Richard Matthews, and we are on in 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to the Hero Show. My name is Richard Matthews, and today I have the pleasure of having on Jamie Eliason. Jamie, are you there?
I'm here. Nice to be
Awesome.
here, Richard. Thank you.
So glad to have you here. Where are you calling in from?
I'm actually located in Santa Barbara, California.
Santa Barbara, California. I don't remember when we were talking ahead of time. That's one of my favorite places in the country is Santa Barbara. We go to their library there and go to the beach there in Santa Barbara. Really love it.
Very lucky to be here, and I'm a native of Santa Barbara, so glad to be.
Nice. And one of my wife's favorite TV shows is in Santa Barbara, Psych. I don't know if you remember that. It's a murder mystery with the modern day version of, what do you call it, Sherlock Holmes.
Great. I do. And we also had, back in the day, we had Santa Barbara as an actual half an hour soap opera, I believe. And so a lot of people became familiar with our city through that.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like Santa Barbara. For those of you who are watching our show and follow along with my wife and I's journeys, we're currently in Illinois. We finally moved out of Florida. We're visiting family. So, freezing to death up here. That's why I got a jacket on, because it's cold in this part of the country. So what I want to start off with, Jamie, is we'll go through just a very brief introduction. We'll get into your story. So you are the CEO and founder of Fruition Endeavors, which is a business operations and management consulting firm. And as someone who runs a business, I can tell you operations has been the biggest lever to change how profitable we are and how much fun the business is to run. So I'm really excited to have this conversation today. So what I want to start with is, what is it that you're known for, right? What's your business like? Who do you serve? What do you do for them?
So basically, what we are known for is helping small and medium-sized businesses stabilize their operations and help them grow, expand, and then eventually link into their communities. This is a huge endeavor for us, hence the name. And it's something that I've been really excited to share with others. It was a little slow going at first, but everything has been picking up wonderfully. And basically, it started from my wide array of knowledge from working for the different companies that I have for the last 25 years and seeing the difficulties that people face. And I wanted to be able to offer services to help these people grow, stabilize, expand, and then we eventually want to do it on a global basis. But right now, we're starting in the United States and actually slowly growing into international shores. So I'm really excited to be here and talk about it today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know operations is it's one of those things that it's the quote unquote boring part of business, right? Everyone's all excited about sales and marketing generally, but what I've learned as I've grown my company is that operations is where all the good stuff happens.
It is. And it's the base of where every company starts, really. If you don't have a good operations line, then you don't really have much of anything. When you get later down the line, you're not ready to grow. You're not ready to, do what it takes to get the business to the next level.
Yeah, one of my favorite companies to study because they're one absolutely incredibly successful is Apple. But one of the reasons I like studying them is because people think they're famous for their product designs and their marketing and their sales and stuff, which is all good. It's all top notch. But like the reason for their success is because Tim Cook is an operations genius, and
Absolutely.
like that's what's allowed them to become $1 trillion company is their operations. And people don't realize that because it's not the flashy stuff; it's all the stuff that you don't really see. So
Exactly. But it is, when it comes down to it, it is the base of the company because it's where your employees start. It's where your profit margin comes from. It's where all of the ideas really take place because if you don't have a firm operations plan, then you can't really move forward with whatever ideas and sales and so on and so forth that you do have.
yeah, and it's fascinating. I get asked to speak regularly to, just because our business has grown the way it has over the past several years. And generally, when I come in and speak, we do talk about like what we do for Push Button Podcasts, and we talk about like our product and the delivery of services. But the stuff that other business owners are super fascinated with is how we run like our operations and what our dashboards look like and what our project management system looks like and how we communicate with our team and how we're building some of those things. Cause like that's what has allowed us to scale. And when I start showing people our back end operations, they're like, oh, it's so much different than having a good marketing message or a good product. Like there's
It
so much
is.
to being a successful company that comes in terms of like I said, for us, we're an all online business. So we don't have like a lot of the logistics that you might have for physical products or for other like in-person services. So it's like our project management system and our team communication systems and our client communication systems and like the dashboards that we keep track of all of the things that are going on. Those things, they make our business run and they allow us to scale. And so when I show
Absolutely.
people like the backside of it, they're
It
like,
works well.
oh, that's why you can do what you do at the price that you do it for and can scale the way that you're scaling because you have the back end dialed in a way that a lot of people don't because they focus all of their time and effort on the product development and the marketing and sales of that product. So, what I want to dive into is your origin story, right? So, every good comic book hero has a good origin story. It's the thing that made them into the hero they are today. And I want to hear that story. Were you born a hero or were you bit by a radioactive spider that made you wanted to get into operations? Or did you start in a job and eventually move over to becoming an entrepreneur? Basically, where did you come from?
So, I came, like I told you originally, I'm here from Santa Barbara, and my dad has been an entrepreneur for as long as I can remember. So I grew up in that pretty much the theory of the best thing that you can do is be yourself and work for yourself and try and put something good out into the world. And so he taught me from a young age that, entrepreneurship is a great way to do that. So when I was 18, I decided that instead of going to work for somebody else, I was going to go ahead and start a company of my own. And so, this has really been the start of my career as far as that went. I became someone who worked for large companies doing their telephone systems and their security systems back when that wasn't popular. I started off in the days of AutoCAD. And so it's been a lot of fun to do that and to grow with pretty much the companies over the years to see how different things, and this was even before the dot com era. So I was working, my first computer was a Commander 64 that had the tape that you put in. So I've been creating and building for a long time. I had my first company for 12 to 15 years at the same time as I also got married and became a single mom of twins and then another one. And I had an amazing time figuring out both the work life balance and running a business, and I did that well into my late 20s. And then the recession hit, and I decided, hey, I want to try something new. And so that was at the point where I went back to college and decided, okay, I'm going to do what I can to up my knowledge. And while I was doing that, I, like I said, I was a single mom. My third child had just been born. I literally strapped her to the front of me and worked during the day in Montecito in the Santa Barbara area as an executive assistant. And I grew my contact book to huge levels. And while I was doing that, people were constantly telling me, Jamie, you have great ideas. You really know how to make things happen. I love working with you. You make me feel good about what I do. And so, that let me know that what I was doing was the right thing. And so eventually that led to working in San Francisco. I got a huge opportunity to work for a media SaaS company, Pix Codex, which is an amazing company. But it also allowed me to go into a situation where I actually ran the operations on an international basis for the first time. And when I came into that office, there were pretty much two sides of the office, East Wing and West Wing. Nobody knew anybody. And there was 82 employees, and you couldn't tell from one side to the other who their names were if they saw them in the kitchen. They only knew them through the Slack channel, which I thought was kind of funny. And so I knew that my main goal when I walked into there was to decide this needed to be a team. This needed to be a community. And the best way to
Yeah.
do that, I realized, was through operations because it's the little things that matter that actually bring people together. And so this is where I really started getting a flavor for people and people operations, HR, onboarding, offboarding, all of these different things that actually make such a huge difference in a company. I created team events, and then it all led to the owner of the company coming to me and saying, "Hey, we need to change office spaces. We're going to go ahead and we want to build a 10,000 square foot office space. And I'm going to give that to you to do because you seem to know our employees well enough to be able to do it with a 6 months timeline and a pretty tight budget." I was able to create an amazing space for 82 employees. And by the time I was done, not only did everybody know each other's names, but they knew their culture, they knew their families. The team building events became amazing. And then it started showing in operations. It started showing in the bottom profit line. It started showing in all of these different things that you come together to do. And I realized that, I think I have a knack for this. And so, it was an amazing eye opener for me. And at that point, I knew that in the future, I was going to be able to open my own company doing something like this. Now, fast forward a couple of years, I ended up back in Santa Barbara working for a local artisanal ice cream company. And, she had two locations when I first started. I grew her to over 10 locations. And I did this by operations, by making sure that everything was streamlined, by changing what her tech stack was, by dealing with all of the